Pennies from Heaven, one of my very, very favorite jazz standards to play. So let's go ahead and get started on this. I'm going to just show you the basic chords. We're in the key of C, and the form is it's an A-B form, song form. It's a 32-bar song form, so it's not A-A-B-A. Key of C, you know, here's my little routine that I always talk about, and I'm going to go through this to begin with before we go through the progression. I always say be able to play diatonically. That means within the key, your 7th chords. That's numero uno. And I'm just using grip chords. I'm actually just staying on the 5th string root for this. Of course, we're going to be toggling back and forth between the 5th and the 6th string roots for a basic version, but it's important just to be able to do that in general for any song that you're learning, is to know the diatonic 7th chords in the key. So C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, the 4, G7, the 5, A minor 7, B minor 7, flat 5, and back to C major 7, the 1, and just go up and down. It's so pretty. You could do these exercises where you're going 7 to the 6. This one is interesting because you have to... But this is a beautiful exercise. I do have this on Patreon. The inner voice leading. Okay. I would then say be able to identify the secondary dominants, because that way you really understand how these songs are written, these old jazz standards. So what I mean by secondary dominants, it's especially nice to see starting on the 5th string root, because each one of these structural chords in the key, except for this 7, okay, gets the dominant, their own dominant. So here you have 1, the 5, and back to 1. The 2, it's 5, A7, and back to the 2, D minor 7. E minor 7, B7, E minor 7, the 3 is 5, F major 7, C7, it's 5, and back to F major 7. G7, it's 5, D7, that's a 5 of the 5, okay, A minor 7, E7, A minor 7. This is such a good exercise, and the B half dim does not get one. That's essentially just G7. So again, that's a good exercise, just to be able to do that 1, 5, 1. And you're going to see in these songs, you're going to see a few of these secondary dominants, and that will help us define why those chords are there when they're not necessarily in the key of C, is because they belong to those other structures in the key of C, diatonic to C. And we'll see that a couple times in this song. And that will help us identify for soloing purposes, okay? Mainly for soloing purposes, is to identify these little tiny modulations. Another aspect of that, and this is all notated on Patreon. I do have a sound slice practice video. Many of you have seen it. Then I say do the 2, 5, 1, 2, 5, 1, and then go to the 2, 5 to the 2, 2, 5 to the 3. This is such a good warm-up exercise. And again, you want to do this in any key. 2, 5 to the 4. And you can fancy up the chords. Of course, I'm just sticking with just 7th chords. 2, 5 to the 5. 2, 5 to the relative minor. Okay. And then back up. That's a great exercise warm-up, both for your theory knowledge and for your fingers to get those 2 5s down. And then do that again also on the 6th string. Okay, so let's get started with this song. This is again how I like to play it. You might see it a few different ways in different fake books. We got the 1 chord, we got the 2 chord, we got the 3 chord, we got the flat 3 dim. And the flat 3 dim is a very unique chord. The flat 3 dim from E flat diminished 7, that functions as a pull toward D minor 7, like a chromatic passing chord. The flat 3 dim will 99% of the time go to the 2. And that's the function of the flat 3 dim, is to pull us down to the 2. Okay, and you can think of it different ways, but it's kind of like, it is the same chord as the 1 diminished, so it's like a tonic diminish. So we have this C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, E flat dim 7, D minor 7, G7. I'll show you some fancier chords in a second, but again, this is just the very, very basic. And then we essentially do that again. Okay, let's do that again. 3, 4. Every time it rains, it rains. Pennies from heaven. Don't you know each cloud contains pennies from heaven? Okay. And some other chords that I like to do. Add my little finger on here to get the 11. These are really nice little simple fills just by simply adding on the 4 or the 11. Get some nice movement. You can get G13, sharp 5. Okay. Sometimes I like to do C major 9, D minor 7 like this. I love to chord explore, as many of you know. And there I went D minor 7, little arpeggio, and then G13, and then maybe flat the 9. Okay, so all these little fills, that's kind of a little Joe Haas style. You can throw those in if you want. And then we can even go up here. So we can really explore these chords, okay? And I'll do that in a minute here, but let's just get the basics down. So this is where I usually ask y'all, when the 1 turns to dominant, type it in the chat there. When the 1 chord turns to dominant, where does that pull us? This is very important in all these jazz standards to know this. You know the routine. When the 1 turns to dominant, that takes us to the 4. Yes. So you could just go straight to C7, or you could put the 2 in front of it. That's why I was showing you these exercises. 2, 5 to the 4, G minor 7, C7, F major 7, or here, G minor 7, C7. And I said C7, I'm playing 13 because I really love 13s. Okay. So that's what's happening there. And then it goes from the F major 7 to the D7. You could put A minor 7 if you wanted to bebop it up a little bit to the D7, or you could just do D7 if you wanted to stay old school. And then you could do D minor 7 to the G7, or just straight to G7. Again, that's kind of more old school swing. It's just staying on 1 chord for 2 measures instead of doing a 2-5. I'll show you what I mean. So we have this so far. I'll show you the variations. And you choose. Sometimes I mix it up. Don't you know each cloud contains pennies from heaven? Right here, 2-5. You'll find your fortune falling all over town. Be sure that your umbrella, 2-5. Those are all 2-5s, is upside down. And then we're gonna measure 17 there, the B section. Trade them for a package of sunshine and flowers. So there I was demonstrating the use of the 2-5. 2, 5 to the 4. 2, 5. That's D7, the 5 of the 5. Again, this is where knowing those secondary dominants at the beginning of this lesson here is very important. So you understand, oh, that D7 belongs to G, the 5 of the 5. But in front of that, we could obviously put a 2, D minor, and here I'm doing minor 9, to G7, back to the C major. Okay, this is just a little chord analysis. If I'm playing at a little faster tempo, maybe as an instrumental, then I might just stay on those dominant chords like this. Find your fortune falling all over town. D9. Your umbrella is upside down. Okay, so there I just demonstrated C9, F6, D9, and G7. And I like a walk up. I'm playing, especially a solo guitar, I can add the bass line, the walk-up bass. That was G7, A dim, B flat dim, and G/B, and then back to C. Trade them for, back to ballad. And then here's that G minor 7. I love that 2/5 there. And then F major 7. You gotta have showers. So, okay, so that was the same as before. We had the walk up, the 1, 2, 3, flat 3 dim, 2/5, and then 2. So it did not repeat like it did the A section. This is what makes the B section the B section. So it's only 4 bars of that, and then the 2/5 to the 4. I love this F major 7. You must have showers. And then we stay on the F. I'm gonna do the shapes. So when you hear it thunder, you can go to F minor if you want it sad, or F minor 7, or F minor 6. Or if you want it bluesier, go to the B flat, the 13, okay? That turns at F major to F minor. You could do 2/5 if you want. So you're on the F. Actually, let's put it in context so you can hear it. Right here. F major 7. You must have showers. F major, B flat 13. There. And that was C major to the 6, A7. And that's going to, of course, pull us to D minor. There'll be pennies from heaven for you and me. Turn around. And that's the chords. So those last 8 bars are really where it's exciting. F major 7, F minor, or B flat 7, your choice, or both. C major, A7. You could do the diminished sub there if you want. 2/5. If I was gonna delay the ending, I'd go to the 3. And then walk. A little bluesy ending there. You can do whatever for the endings, of course, as you know. You can keep it more swing style or bluesy. So those are the basic chords. Let's go through it one time there. Hopefully you are enjoying this lesson. Let me know in the chat there if you have any comments. And this is such a really sweet song. Let's play through it again. Hopefully you have the lead sheet again. If not, grab it from the link in the description here. Okay. It's got the melody written out, and we can go through the melody too. I wrote the melody up high for this version, but we can play it an octave lower. It doesn't matter. Or every time it rains, pennies from heaven. Nice, Andy. Hope this is inspiring your painting. All right, here we go, nice and slow, really slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Every time it rains, pennies from heaven. Don't you know each cloud contains pennies from heaven? You find your fortune falling all over town. Be sure that your umbrella is upside down. Hold down. Trade them for a package of sunshine or flowers. 'Cause if you want those things you love, you've gotta have showers. So when you hear it thunder, don't run under a tree. There'll be pennies from heaven for you and for me. whether it's solo or your leads. But that's the basic idea with the chords. Sometimes I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do until I do it. So I think there, something fancier that I did on the C7 chord, I think I did some sus. I love those sus chords, C sus 9. Okay, and that's a B flat triad with a C, and then F major, 9, F major, 9. Trying to think of what else I did there. C6 9 to the A7, the 9 on top, D minor, G13. Then I flat the 13, flat the 9. Let's try it again. Let's just mess with this. D minor. So there I was trying out a few other little ideas, just kind of making it different before adding some susses. I held that G9 sus4 at the end there for 2 bars to kind of build the tension. The bass player would be going 1, 2, 4, 2, 4, you know, create some nice tension there. Little walk-ups like that. So things like that, some voice leading. Those are all things that I'm trying to add in. That little trick of the chord, melodic chord comping, where I'm trying to keep a melody, a constant note, maybe like this, C major 7, D minor 9, E minor 7, E flat dim 7, D minor 9, and then maybe C major 9. Maybe try to move those voicings a little bit like this. Just kind of creating a little counter melody to what the singer would be singing. Yukon has a question: when the chords go from F major 7 to the D7 and then G7, is that in the key of G? Yeah, for that, momentarily that D7 would be treated as if it's in the key of D. That's exactly right, key of G. D7 belongs to G. And of course, I say that liberally because for soloing purposes, if someone just said, hey, what would you play on this D7 chord? That's kind of broad, right? We could play kind of, you know, kind of some swingy blues licks. D dominant blues, D mixolydian if you want to be more diatonic, that's key of G. A gypsy jazz player might do those diminished runs on D7 because that's kind of a default thing to do. That turns it into a D7 flat 9. So you kind of want to think about what color do you want, and my suggestion is play it with chords. D7, D7 flat 9, D9, D7 sharp 9. You know, you could do E flat melodic minor, you could do A melodic minor. But there is a little trick that I like to kind of follow, a little rule in general, when I know the function of it. So D7 is the 5 of the 5, or the 2 dominant. I often treat it like this color. So I'd be playing A melodic minor. Okay, and A melodic minor gives us a flat 5, sharp 11, and a natural 9. So those are some tension notes. But again, I'd say to experiment, because maybe you're like, ooh, I want a flat 9 sharp 5. Maybe you want that sound. So, you know, dominants are where you can have a lot of fun, and there's a lot of possibilities. I think I did a little whole tone lick. You know, I like the whole tone scale a lot, so I might do that a lot on the 2 dominant. So I hope that answers your question, Yukon. I know we're going to have a good private lesson later today, talking about a lot of stuff. So those are those secondary dominants, the D7. There's an A7 in there, and in that case, when it goes da 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 dum, I'm thinking D harmonic minor, because that pulls us to D minor. So I'm thinking D harmonic minor on that A7, and then to the D minor, and then resolve it. G7, I like to play F melodic minor quite a bit. I think that's a really beautiful color, and that gives us this G13 with a flat 9, sharp 9 too. So experiment with different colors, I always say, alterations on those dominant chords. To me, sometimes it depends on where it's functioning. Is it the 2 dominant? Is it the real dominant? Is it the 5 of the 2? And if it's a 5 of the 2, then I want the harmonic minor flavor, generally speaking. Meaning I want the flat 9 and the sharp 5. That's what that gives us. On the C7 chord, when that 1 turns to dominant there, you can play G melodic minor. I think melodic minor is quite a bit on dominant chords. You can play just C mixolydian. C mixolydian is the 5 of F. So you can just kind of modulate to the key of F when that happens. That's being very polite, very vanilla, very diatonic to that. When you see C7, that's the 5 of F. But you can also play F harmonic minor. Again, if you want a gypsy jazz vibe, and I'm starting on G. And then resolve it to F major. And then D7, maybe I want the whole tone on the D7. And then G7, maybe C harmonic minor. Maybe I want that darker flat 9 sharp 5, that's flavor. And then back to C major. So again, sometimes I like to think about the colors harmonically with the chords that I'm trying to spell. And the best way to do that approach is by playing the actual chord and seeing if you like that flavor. So even on this first part, you don't have to necessarily follow the chords. To me, that's just all C major stuff right there. All that's just C major. This walk up, you don't have to arpeggiate each chord, even though you could. You can outline it if you wanted to. Another good trick for that opening line that I'm going to have you think about and try is the 2 chord, the D minor 7. Instead of doing the walk up, think of it as the 4 chord, F major, okay? Because F major 6 and D minor 7 are the same. So that's a great substitution that you can do. I talked about that in a lot of my lessons. So instead of doing this, what's written, you can do this. So I went to the F instead, and I made it dominant 9 to make it a little bit bluesier. Again, all those great jazz players, Oscar Peterson, Stan Getz, those guys would do stuff like that, the 11s. So instead of doing the 1, 2, 3, this is very sweet, don't get me wrong, but you can make it, jazz it up, the tritone sub. Check it out with colors I'm going to do. So there I just did all whole tone just to show you like that's a particular flavor. On the D, I went like this. There's only 2 whole tone scales. It's such a good trick and it's so easy and it sounds good. Those are my two rules that I live by. If it's easy and it sounds good, I'm going to do it until it's overdone. I don't want to exaggerate it too much. But then G, the other whole tone. So you have a 50-50 chance, I always say, of getting the right whole tone. On the D whole tone, face value. And on the G7, G hold tone. Then I released it, the energy and the tension rather, by doing the blues. And we can do this beautiful like melodic scale we're targeting. So I did C major, F major, on the E minor, G major. So I'm just thinking just major triads. More whole tone. F. So that, again, what I was thinking there on this little trick, C major, 1, 2, 3, 5 digits. On the D minor, F major. On the E minor, G major. It's such a good trick because all you have to do is think 1, 4, 5. And you can kind of get it pretty speedy if you want to. Those little type of licks, if you want to just blaze through those changes, those are great tricks. And diminish, you all know, diminish arpeggios. So again, that's kind of some more outlining. But oftentimes when the band is just doing this, I'm sticking the 1 chord, and then the 4. So D minor 7, I'm translating often to F major. I play D minor 7, I play F major 7. And then on the G7, I play F diminished. And then back to C. And the band is doing this stuff, the walk up, I'm just thinking C stuff. This is just pretty, pretty C licks. Little bluesy phrases like that, even though the band is doing this. I'm not trying to outline every chord, but again, if you did want to, you could do stuff like this, like that, just outlining. Those are just some soloing tips that I like to think about. Again, it's coloring the chords with those dominant chords. That's often where you can really have a lot of fun choosing those colors. So I really highly recommend that you learn the basics. Don't necessarily do that for comping behind a singer, putting in all these sharp 5s, flat 9s. Just keep it pretty bland and pretty safe behind a vocalist. But maybe for the soloist, you can kind of have fun. If you hear them playing colors, you can react to that with the appropriate colors. And that's when, you don't want to boss the soloist around, making them play whole tone scales all the time, you know what I mean? But it sounds better. To me, it sounds great when you are on the same page with the soloist, with their ideas, and you want to listen to what they're doing. So again, just experiment on those dominant chords. If maybe you want to see sus flavor. And then F major 9, D9 sharp 11, that little dreamy flavor, and then maybe G sus, and then back to C major 9. Maybe this. See, and that's C9, the flat 9 and the flat 5. And then F major sharp 11, Lydian. Again, now I'm taking a little bit outside there, but you can really start to color up these chords how you want. It's so much fun actually to think about that with comping, to have fun and improvise with your comping and your soloing your leads. So again, it's nice to be able to have that chord scale relationship. If I hit this chord, D9 with a sharp 11, you might say, ooh, I want to run a melodic minor. G7, maybe C harmonic minor with flat 9. And then back to C major, but maybe I'll do C major sharp 11. Again, this would be kind of maybe a little bit modern-y version of Pennies from Heaven. But again, to me, this song is a nice old school song, so I would keep my soloing a little bit more to the swing and gypsy jazz. By the way, I do have 2 etudes. A lot of them cover different soloing aspects as I'm demonstrating some technical stuff too, a lot of embellishments, stuff like that, and little melodic contours. So check out those soloing etudes if you are on Patreon. If not, consider joining Patreon, or you can just purchase those etudes separately. The link is in the description for my Pennies from Heaven package. I have my chord melody arrangement as well. Well, hey, thanks for joining me today. I've got to get running here. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed today's session.